Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 41st episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas
Da, da,
O'Brien.
da,
I
da,
like
da,
that.
da.
I've never seen that. That's cool.
Yeah, this was like a giveaway like years ago. I just found
Really?
it. Now it will be
Wait,
back here.
is that Delta?
Yes.
Does Delta still sponsor the Mets?
I don't think so.
Because I know
'Cause
they're a big Yankee sponsor.
I'm not sure. They might, but I
Because some of
forget.
their like suites are sponsored by Delta.
Yeah,
So
I honestly forget. But it was a good week for
baseball
Mets.
week, yay!
Good, yes, good week. I'm very happy.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a birthday gift and didn't play piss poor baseball the entire week. They
Mm-hmm.
played good baseball. So that's very exciting.
Good baseball. Yankees play weird baseball.
Okay baseball.
Weird baseball.
Weird
I wouldn't
ball.
even say okay baseball. I'd say weird baseball.
That's fair. That's fair. It was a
Uh,
week.
it
It
was
was indeed a
certainly
week.
a week. Um, yeah, you got anything else there, or get back into it, or back into it, right into it?
Let's just get right into it.
Ah, Bronx. Go.
Just eat your mic real quick.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bronx, where we are going to be going over a Yankees road trip where they ended up going 4-3, 3-1 in Kansas City, and then 1-2 in Boston. But first, before anything, your injury update brought to you by the Triboro MD. So first off, and this one just came out of left field, it's ironic because he plays left field, but Everson Pereira is getting Tommy John. Um, it sucks because I forget if he's out of options or if he's not Rule 5 next year. So I think he's out of options next year. So it's probably over with the Yankees just because a prospect coming off Tommy John and you have how many other blue chip outfield prospects and you think you're already going to sign Soto. So I don't,
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah. Especially with we've seen how they treat players with Tommy John, where they slow play them, which don't blame them. Like that's what you should do, especially outfielders. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, he was quite possibly your one of, if not your biggest trade chip this deadline and in the off season. But now there's a possibility you could still trade him, but he's just obviously not going to have nearly as much
so
value.
much less value. Yeah. Um, and then I'll do Dominguez stay in the minors. So he was put on the 7-day IL. Let me just clarify this because a lot of people don't know this. In the minors, so in the major leagues, 7-day IL is concussion based. That isn't the case in the minors. They don't have a 10-day IL. Their 10-day IL is the 7-day IL. I'd assume it's because they have a shorter season. I just assume that's the reason why. A shorter season,
Yeah,
10 days is a lot more than 7 days, whatever. The reason why is he felt something in his side during a swing, and he's getting a test. They're saying his oblique. I want to say it's his left oblique, which a lot of people are pointing to a swing where you see him grimace after. We'll get into grimace later. But it was on a check swing, which is
I
like,
mean, I guess kind of like if you're going, got all your force going, and you kind of stop,
mm,
like just that, like that kind
I
of
get
jerk
that, yeah.
reaction.
It's
Maybe
just
it just,
that I've never heard of a guy tweaking something on a check swing.
yeah,
Like that's just like, I don't know. That's just weird to me.
yeah.
Um, and then another one where, so Anthony Rizzo, he was running to first base. There was a collision. They're saying he has a right lower arm injury, and he'll have imaging done today. And he did get a fluoroscope last night, which is pretty much an X-ray but with moving pictures. So
Movie.
yeah, it's not as accurate or it's not as easy to read. So they're getting like confirmation today. They said it came back a negative on any brakes, anything like that. First off, did you see the collision?
I saw the clip once.
What is your opinion on it? Like dirty or not?
I don't know, because, like, I'm going to lean no, but, you know what? I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Well, you do that. I say yes
Yeah.
for a couple of reasons. One, the first baseman is out of the baseline. He's so far off first base, and he tries to catch the ball, just completely bobbles it. Then he leans into the first base line and lowers his shoulder. I didn't see this play live because I was because this was when we were like shutting down fields because some of the games were finishing last night. So I was doing that. I was like taking some of the fields. I come back and my coworker, who's a Red Sox fan, he like tells me what happens. I'm like, oh, was it dirty or not? And he was like, oh, 100%. And that's coming from a Red Sox fan saying that it was like 100% dirty. Like there was no argument. And you look at it, you could literally see him lower the shoulder into Rizzo. And I see the gears turning.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Where he's not in first base, he doesn't have the ball. After he realizes he doesn't have the ball, then he leans back into first base, then drops the shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, he also... Yeah, he's also it's tough because it's a pitcher fielding the position.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he's running from the mound, and he's just trying to get it, and he, like, kind of drops... He misses the throw as he's trying to move to first base. He steps on too much of first base. Like, he's covering a lot of the base with his foot. But it's not really the shoulder for me. It looks like he kind of, like, elbow checks him. Not so much, like...
Or what? There's no reason
down.
to do that move, though. There's literally no reason. Doesn't matter if you're a pitcher. Doesn't matter what you are and you don't know how to field. You should never lower your shoulder, elbow check, whatever. You should never be doing that.
Yeah. After looking at it again, it's dirty.
And especially when you consider
elbow,
he got ejected, too, the pitcher.
the pitcher?
Yeah, right after that, he got ejected.
Yeah.
And Anthony Rizzo also got taken out right away.
Yeah.
I think it may not even be the worst thing that, say it's not that serious, but they IL him just to be safe. Like, I know, like, they gave him a couple days off, but I'm a big believer in the phantom IL in the sense of a guy struggling. Just, like, put him on the IL with left toe soreness. So I can't say that because of Judge. But with, like, pinky soreness. Yeah, back spasms, that's what it is. And just, if he's going to get right, in my opinion, the only thing you could do is give him those 10 days off.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate for Rizzo, but as long as it's nothing serious, it could be a best-case scenario.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, let him kind of just take a mental break, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully you can call someone up that can give you more value than Rizzo has in the past 3 months.
Yeah, like I've talked at length about Ben Rice. TJ Rumfield is another guy that, if I just pull up his stats really quick here, because I saw a tweet about it, but I didn't save it. Max Goodman. Where are you? Where are you? Was it Max Goodman? It may not have been. Whatever, but TJ Rumfield has, because it was over like a certain period, but he has been incredible. Like, I think it's about a 900 OPS and a 300 batting average between AA and AAA over like 100 games or something like that. Regardless, he's been very good. I'm pretty sure he won a Gold Glove last year. So, very good defender, obviously at first base. Yeah, just a couple of guys to watch if he does end up going down with an injury. Or
Yeah.
get put on the
Now,
IL.
do you think if it's a short-term injury, like 10 days, and then he's back, or maybe give him some rehab assignments, whatever? Do you think they try to make a move for Rice to get up?
I think yes and no, in the sense of, I think no matter what happens, Rizzo's going to get the benefit of the doubt when he comes back.
Yeah.
So I think it's a thing of they'll see kind of what they have with Rice for those 10, 15 days, however long it is. And if Rice is playing really well, they send down someone else, like maybe, what's his face? Jahmai Jones. They may send him down, and then kind of do a platoon, just something like that, and see, even though they're both lefties, but give Rizzo kind of that playing time, and if you give him like a week
Yeah.
or two and he's not hitting, then maybe like adios. But yeah, I think it's like I said, the clubhouse, the complications, I guess you could call it, implications.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And one last thing I want to add on that is both Ben Rice and Rumfield are not on the 40-man roster,
Mhm.
but the only first baseman the Yankees have on their 40-man roster in AAA is Carlos Narvaez, who's a almost 26-year-old in AAA.
How many
So,
people do they have on their 40 man?
40.
40?
I
Okay.
don't know. Let me see. They have 39. Oh,
I was going to say,
39.
I feel like they're at
There you go.
39.
Okay. All right, so never mind. They have some room to play with.
Yeah. I'm just trying to because I don't think they... Huh. No, because that'd probably be Petit. Well, they... At the same time, because I'm going to get into Garrett Cole right now, I don't think Petit has options, and I don't think they're going to want to DFA him. Because Garrett Cole, so just to put in a little context, he threw another rehab assignment in AAA. I want to say it was on Friday. Keep in mind, AAA, a lot higher run scoring environment than AA. In a rehab assignment, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run that was not earned, 10 strikeouts. Obviously, AAA, he won the Cy Young last year, but it still is very good to see the strikeouts. Obviously, like his stuff's crisp. Threw about 70 pitches, and they don't know if he's going to start or not on Wednesday because, little context, they're starting a 3-game set with the Orioles. He would be slated to start on Wednesday, and that's when Petit would start. So I don't know what they do, where if they do like a tandem start where you get like 85 pitches out of Cole, whatever it is, and then you throw Petit after that. Who knows? But yeah, he's going to be back very soon.
Yeah, I will say Petit does have options.
He does?
So that is, yeah, he does. So that
Okay.
is a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, that makes that easier.
Yeah.
It'd make it more complicated for the Ben Rice situation, though.
Yeah.
For first base, because you'd have to DFA someone, because then you'd be at 40 on the 40 man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it
So.
for the injury update. A very long one, because you had a lot of very complicated situations. But then getting into the game. So, game 1 of the Royal Series, all I got is a Michael Tonkin save. I just wanted to put that out there. The Yankees are paying Petit, Tonkin, and Weaver roughly $3.6 million in 2024. And they combined, they have, I forget what the number is, it's about like a 2.2 ERA.
That is very good.
Very good. And then game 1 and 2 were just slaughters. Game 4, I saw people shitting on Nestor for this line, and I just think you're retarded if you do. Nestor went 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks on the road, which he has struggled with. You're an idiot if you're like knocking Nestor for that. The only reason people are knocking Nestor for that is because the Yankees lost that game. And that was not his fault that the Yankees lost that game.
Yeah.
They were no hit.
220.
Yeah. They were, especially on the road, which he struggled with.
Right.
The Yankees were no hit through 6 innings. Soto breaks up the no-no because, of course. Soto ends up giving the Yankees the lead in the 8th inning to make it a 3-2 game. Then in the 3-2, in the 9th inning, there's 2 outs. Rizzo and Clay both kind of hesitate on a ball, and the runner ends up being safe. Did you see that play?
Yeah, it
Who
was weird.
Who would you say is at fault there?
I'd say Rizzo. Unfortunately, I feel bad because I feel like we've just been picking on Rizzo, but I think that's a first baseman's ball. Like you got to go for that. You got to. Oh, you also got to hope that the pitcher covers first. So it kind of goes both ways, but I think it's more so on Rizzo.
My thing is that you won a Gold Glove, and correct me if I'm wrong. He won a Platinum Glove. Yeah, he won a Platinum Glove as well. You are supposed to be this otherworldly defender at first base. I know his defense hasn't been good. You have to charge that ball and cover first base, whatever. You shouldn't put a pitcher in that situation when you don't have to. That's more what it is. Like, you're supposed to be this incredible defender. You should not have to put a guy who's a pitcher who doesn't field nearly as much you do in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the Royals end up walking it off. I will say that it is also on Clay because he gave up a hit to the 9-hitter who's just not, I forget who it was, but he was hitting like under 200 on the year. So yeah, he still could have closed it out, but just that Rizzo error didn't help. I feel like it's the David Cohn quote that like if someone makes an error, he's like, all right, that's fine. I get 4 outs. 5 outs, that's way too much though. I could do 4 though. So yeah. Then, moving on to Boston, Game 1, they just killed them. The Alex Verdugo being on the first pitch he sees at Fenway was just perfect. Dead center. Not an easy place to hit home runs in. Dead center at Fenway. He went 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs. Luis Gil had a good start, but labored. He went 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 6 Ks. That's a pretty good start, or solid start. Just our expectations obviously have become so skyrocketed for him.
Yeah, exactly.
But 5 innings pitched, 1 run at Fenway. You take that.
Yeah. 4 walks hurt.
Yeah. He did that was the thing, the 8 base runners through 5 innings.
Yeah.
Then moving on to Game 2, Rodon just did not pitch well. In 5 innings, he had 7 hits, 5 earned run, 3 walks, 7 Ks. I will say this, though. All 5 runs and all 7 hits came in the first 2 innings. He did not allow a hit or a run in the last 3. So
settled in a little late.
A little too late.
Yeah.
And that was really all I had for that. Obviously, we talked about the error in Game 3 and Rizzo. The Yankees, I don't know if you could say it's a thing of the pitching, the offense. I'd say it's more a thing of the pitching. The Yankees are 38-2 when scoring 5 or more runs. And there's another point I want to talk about. I just completely forgot to get the numbers for it, but if I can, it's about Tommy Kahnle and just how his velocity, I did not realize, but it's like dropped pretty significantly.
Oh.
From like last year, and if I could find, I don't see. I'm just trying to see where are you? Where are you? Average pitch velocity. Okay. No, that's sinker. I want to see fastball. Why are we being dumb? Okay, whatever. His fastball last year averaged 95.3 miles an hour. This year it's averaging 93.7. His changeup averaged 88.8. It's down to 97.1. So, and you look at Tommy Kahnle, like the year before the 95.3 was 95.7. When he was pitching in 2020, which obviously he missed 2021, 97.4. So, he hasn't been that good this year. He has a 4.5 ERA, and I think a lot of that has to do with that velo drop. Because the whole thing is your fastball changeup guy, but if you're losing a lot of speed on that fastball, and then the changeup's not going to be as good because then the changeup relative is going to be slower and it's going to be easier to catch up to it. And but it's just
Don't want it
something
so
that,
hard.
yeah, because he's 34, he's getting up there in age. Obviously, he had the Tommy John a couple of years ago. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't think it's a small sample size because he's pitched 10 games this year. He's only pitched 10 games this year? Huh. Oh, yeah, because he was hurt for a little. Um, but I completely forgot about that, too. He was hurt this year
Yeah.
at one point. So that it could be lingering. It could be something like that.
Was that his back? What's the injury this year?
I
Forget.
forget. Let me... Where are you? Where's injuries? I have it right. Shoulder.
Shoulder. All right.
Yeah, so that can have a lot to do.
Checks out. Yeah.
Because if you don't know, people that don't know, shoulder is very big deal.
Tricky.
Yeah. But then moving on to Luis Heel, you're gonna be proud of me of how much depth I went to this for this.
Oh my goodness.
So, if you look at his last two starts, a lot of people have kind of like been pointing to them where he hasn't been nearly as sharp, and I think a lot of it has to do with his pitch usage, because on the season throws about 55.5% of the time fastball. That doesn't change. Keep that as kind of like a baseline for what I'm about to go into. About 27% changeup before the last 2 weeks, about 17% slider before the last 2 weeks. The last two starts, that 27 for the changeup went to 33%. Slider went from 17 to 13.5. Lowest of the year for that. Okay, whatever, that's not like that much. There's going to be dips. In the Boston start, that 33.3, which was already the second most he's thrown this year for the changeup, went to 40, which is the most for his changeup. That slider that was at 13.5 went to 6.7. So his season average for fastball for changeup was 27. It rose to 33, then 40. Season average for slider was 17, which went to 13 and then 6.7. Which
Interesting.
I think this is a case of his changeup is so good that he's trying to spam it a little too much.
Okay.
Where I feel like that slider is such a good equalizer that he should go back to kind of that where like 27% changeup is kind of the put away pitch, or like a get me over
I was just
pitch.
gonna say that. Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of the best way I could put it.
Yeah. I mentioned this a while ago. No, probably like a month or two ago. That I'd like to see him incorporate like a fourth pitch, because he obviously just fastball, changeup, slider. So something else, maybe like I'm not too great with like pitch arsenal and like how things play off. Maybe like a cutter
I was gonna
to get
say
them off
that.
the fastball, and then you can kind of work the changeup through that, and then plus with the slider, maybe something like that could help. Not even like as an out pitch, but just to get just to show the hitter something different, just to
Yeah.
get them off their toes a little bit.
No.
But yeah, definitely.
Because you're talking about adding a fourth pitch. He was essentially a 2-pitch pitcher in
Right.
Fenway. Like, yeah, the 6.7, whatever. That's like what? He threw, I think, about 100 pitches. So I think a little less. So call it 6 sliders.
Yeah.
'Cause I think he threw about
Which is
90
nothing.
pitches. Yeah, so
Right.
that's... I'm very concerned if that's going to be a trend that's going to continue. I
Right.
hope it's not, because Matt Blake's pretty smart when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because no matter, like, unless you're Mariano Rivera, and even then, he'd only pitch 1 inning. He's not going through a lineup 4 times. So it's very hard to go through a lineup 4 times when you only have 2 pitches.
Definitely.
And then, kind of my last pitcher that I wanted to talk on was Ron Marinaccio. So they've been using him in a very funky way, where the last so he's had 2 appearances since coming back to the major league roster. The first one, 2.1 innings pitched, 40 pitches. The other one, 2 innings, 45 pitches. His last appearance in the minors was 45 pitches. he really was only a 1, maybe 2 inning guy, like maxing out at like 25 pitches before
Right.
that. So I could see them trying to use him as like a 3 inning guy, which
Right.
is very interesting, I think, to say the least.
Yeah.
Just
I
because
feel like. Yeah. Go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
go.
Okay, I go. Because you have Tonkin who can give you 2 innings.
Hmm.
Does Weaver usually go more than one
He'll
inning?
it depends how they use him. If they use him as a
Okay.
setup man, he'll go 1. But there's been a lot of
Okay.
times he'll go like 2 innings.
Yeah. So I think that's just another weapon to have in their back pocket, especially if a starter only goes, say, 4 or 5 innings. You can kind of bridge that gap if you're still in the game.
Which I just wanted to say the Yankees are the only team in baseball to have a starter go 4 or more innings in every single start. And that is like it's been a major league record, or like a Yankee record, maybe a major league record for like the last 15 times they've done it. It's like 15 starts ago was a record and they've still done
Yeah.
it. So that is a big thing too where they've just been getting so much length.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like
Must be nice.
MLB is also like transitioning into this.
Yeah.
Or like
I
I
feel,
feel like a lot of guys are becoming multi-inning relievers.
I talked about it like weeks ago, a
Mm.
month ago, because obviously the Mets have had issues with their starters not giving them length. But it's to the point where it's just all around baseball, starters aren't going as deep.
Mhm.
6 innings is a good start.
Yeah.
5 innings is solid. So you're seeing a lot of teams needing a 2 inning, maybe even 3 inning guy. That's what the Mets did with Adrian Hauser. He's now that 2 inning guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
that's
also a
just
little
where
different because he was a starter, but
right. But now that's
yeah.
how he's being used.
Yeah.
So that's just where the game's going, and some teams are just getting ahead of the curve.
I also think that it's a what was I going to say? There was an article a while ago that got posted about ways to make pitchers go longer. A lot of the things were just very dumb. Like
Yeah.
one of them was like ban pitches over 95 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And like so some of the stuff was just stupid. But one thing I liked is that if a pitcher reaches certain inning thresholds, for their pitch count they get added, or for their pitch clock they get added time.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like. In the
I
sense,
think that's one of the better ideas in that article.
it was the
It's
best, I
it's on
think.
the Athletic, but yeah, just because the pitch clock is obviously still a big deal. And it's still controversial, but these guys, a lot of them have been pitching for years without it. So giving them an extra 5 seconds,
Yeah.
like in the 7th inning, can be huge for them.
Yeah. It also entices a manager that if they know that they will get more time, there's a lower chance of injury, and they can really kind of hunker down and make their best pitch possible. I really like the idea, personally. Be very interesting if anything like that gets implemented, but they really do need to do something. But then moving on to the hitters, Jose Trevino. I'll get with the bad first. Did you see how many stolen bases he let up last night?
Yeah, but well, last time I checked, it was like 6.
It was 9.
It wasn't. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I think he let up.
He let up 9 stolen bases. But we've talked about he's just not going to throw guys out because he has the weakest arm in baseball, like by far, for a catcher. So getting onto the offense, which is weird that we're like saying he had a bad night defensively, but offense. On the year, he has a 116 WRC plus, but then if you go to his last, call it 2.5 weeks, going back to May 31st, granted he's not starting every day because they're platooning with Wells, whatever, but in that time he has a 150 WRC plus with 3 home runs. Yeah.
Known power hitter, Jose Trevino.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of those things where hitting 276, he is. I feel like he always does this, where he'll just like go red hot, ice cold, red hot,
Right.
ice cold, Where
Yeah.
for a catcher, I don't hate that personally.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, those red hot moments make up for those ice cold moments, especially when you're playing
Absolutely.
platinum glove defense.
Absolutely.
Even though you're allowing 9 stolen bases.
Yeah.
But then moving on to Volpe, I think he's the same way as Trevino, where it's ice cold, red hot, ice cold, red hot. Because going back to his last 3 weeks, Anthony Volpe has a 231 batting average, 247 on base, 330 slugging, 251 weighted on base, 62 WRC plus.
He's been really struggling.
He has. The one thing I will say is he has 5 stolen bases. He has been stealing a lot more.
All right.
Like I know, I forget if it was game 1 or game 2, but he stole second, next pitch, stole third. He still hasn't been thrown out, or he's never been caught stealing at third base. I think he has like 10 or so stolen bases a third.
Yeah.
But that's also not a negligible amount of plate appearances, 93 plate appearances.
Right.
And he hasn't really walked, so most call it 90 at-bats. About that.
Yeah, give or take.
So I think it's one of those things of he's just going to be that guy, at least in his early career, where he's going to be hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. But there was another thing I saw that in the first inning, he has like an 830 OPS.
Huh.
Where it's like
At least he knows how to start a game off.
Yeah, like, I just closed out his Twitter, but going back to Max Goodman, because when I was looking for the Rumfield tweet, I saw this. Where is you really quickly? I just saw, yeah. In the first inning this season, Anthony Volpe has an 871 OPS. He's hitting 327, has 3 triples. Juan Soto's hitting 327 with a 1.146 OPS, 5 home runs. Aaron Judge is hitting 434 with a 1.583 OPS with 9 home runs and 4 doubles.
Jeez.
So they're
coming
that's
out hot out of the gate.
That's crazy when you think about it, and I think that's why they win so much, because they give the pitching an early lead.
Yeah.
And just would be a lot nicer to see more consistency later in after the first at bat for those guys. But yeah.
Yeah, I think with Volpe, you also have to keep in mind he is 23. You know, it's only
Yeah.
his second full year. He has gotten better from last year. There's no doubt about that. But there's still going to be bumps in the road, and you know,
Yeah.
guys struggle. It happens. But you know, he needs. I think he needs to walk more. He needs to have a
I
little more
agree.
patience, especially at that leadoff position. Because, like you mentioned, you know, he's struggling, but he's still in 5 bases. So if you get on base, it's a double, maybe even a triple, technically. Because, look,
And he's also hitting triples too.
right, you know, doubles, triples are nice, home runs, whatever. You don't need to be that guy when you have Judge and Soto behind you. But just get on base. Start small. Get to first, then get to second, then get to third, then get
get to
driven in.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I really thought when he stole second, then stole third on back-to-back pitches, I'm like, is he gonna steal home? I was just like, I don't know why, just like the thought crossed my mind.
he will.
One point, yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind he will one time.
Yeah.
Maybe even a few times throughout his
Yeah.
career, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. I forget what it was. I forget if they were dead last or 27th, but I think it's dead last. They're like the slowest team in baseball. But then you have
Really?
Anthony Volpe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have Anthony Volpe, who's just the
I
only.
mean, you got Stan just dragging that
Stanton,
sprint streak down.
Rizzo, Trevino, DJ.
I forgot about DJ. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I know he did this last year or in 2022. I'm not sure if he's doing it this year. But Judge will kind of, I don't want to say jog, but he'll kind of give like 80 to 90% running out balls. Unless it's high leverage, then he'll give 100. So I
Yeah.
think his sprint speed's lower than how fast he actually is.
Right.
Because he's playing center field. So it's not like you're going to put a slow guy in center field.
Definitely.
I feel like that's another thing too. A lot of the players on the Yankees kind of just like play up with their speed, kind of like how Nimmo
Mhm.
does, where like he's not necessarily the fastest guy on the planet, but he plays up with his speed.
Yeah.
If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, I agree. Yeah, it just
Um,
gives him like an extra oomph.
yeah. And then kind of just the last guy I wanted to touch on was DJ LeMahieu, who has just not been good whatsoever. Doesn't matter how you slice it. In 15 games, he has a 56 WRC plus with 0 home runs. And let me check if it'll show me doubles. Where are you with doubles? He has 2 doubles in 15 games, no home runs. So 2 extra bases in that. That's not good.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy that's supposed to be a big contact guy. He's hitting 188. I will say the he's expected batting at, or no, that's projected. I'm stupid. But his on base is 304. So that's a pretty sizable jump from average to on
Yeah.
base. Still not a good on base. I'm not saying
No.
that. But that is a pretty sizable jump.
Yeah.
But his weighted on base is 242.
Yeah. Not
So it's a lot lower than
yeah,
that.
not good. Yeah. I think it's mid-June. Trade deadline is going to be here sooner rather than later.
I don't see how you could get anything for him though.
Not saying that you trade DJ, but third base is probably going to continue to be an issue. First base, unless you call someone up, can be an issue.
Hmm
I still
I get
have
the
faith
good
in
New York
Gleyber.
first baseman.
Yeah. It's not a horrible fit.
I
It's
just want to
not,
say it is very. Jeff Passan, by name, brought up Pete Alonso to the Yankees.
he did.
I don't think that's nothing. That's
Yeah, I mean, look.
I don't think it's something, but I don't think it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in Queens, but like, there's still time, so we'll see. No, but I don't think anyone really knows what the Mets want to do.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But it's a fit. It's not a bad fit.
Yeah, especially if Rizzo's hurt. But
Right.
adding on to DJ, he's 36 by the trade deadline.
Yeah, you're not getting anything from him for him, but you probably got to replace him if he continues this trend.
Especially because he has, after this year, 2 more years at 15 million AAV,
Yikes.
which isn't horrible. I will say that
No.
it's not horrible, but you also think about just he's a guy that I would have thought played better with age, or not better with age, but didn't drop off that drastically with
Would have
age.
aged well, yeah. You
Yeah.
would think contact guys or contact-oriented guys, like Jeff McNeil, because I thought the same thing. I mean, he's not as old, but just a drop-off.
Yeah.
You would think that they have, if they're not going to be as good, they can stay consistently solid, like
Mhm.
league average.
Yeah. That's really all I have for the Bronx. Yankees are going home, and they are starting a 3-game set with the with the Baltimore Orioles, where game 1 is going to be Nestor Cortez. Why is my computer being dumb? It's not loading. They have an off day today. They are starting a 3-game set tomorrow with Nestor going up against Albert Suarez, who I've never heard of him, but he has a 1.61 ERA on the year. Game 2 is Cade Povich against TBD, who's either going to be Cody Poteet or Garrett Cole. I'm kind of leaning towards Poteet, just with how
too.
they're not. I feel like they would have confirmed it already by now.
Yeah.
And then game 3 is Luis Heel versus Cole Irving. Last time Luis Heel faced the Orioles, he outdueled Corbin Burns. I forget if it was 6 or 7 scoreless innings. But yeah. That's it, Poppy.
That's it. I mean, look, you're missing Corbin Burns, so that's pretty big.
Mhm.
But I think for Cole, it could also be like a gamesmanship thing that they haven't announced the starter to kind of keep the Orioles on their toes. Like, if they lose the first game of the series, they're like, all right, you know what? We're going to start Cole tomorrow. Like, I don't think it's going to be like that quick of a turnaround,
Yeah.
but it could be something like that.
I also just think it's so. Me personally, I'd rather 85 pitches of Garrett Cole than 80 pitches of Cody Poteet.
Yeah, of course.
As good as Poteet has been, he's not the Cy Young winner.
Right.
Like, it's just the truth.
That's just how it is. Nothing
Yeah.
against T.
Who I think's
You're up
pitched
against
incredible.
Cy Young.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you want to take us away.
Yeah. If that's all you got, we'll get into Grimace Town in Queens.
Now entering Queens.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Queens, where the Mets finished off a fantastic homestand, going 5-1 against the Miami Marlins and San Diego Padres, and introduced our new Lord and Savior, Grimace. But before we get into
I want to
that,
say something on Grimace before that. It
Okay.
is so funny because probably a week before this, I was just like talking with some of the guys that I work with, and Grimace is like a huge like joke among them. Or apparently like
Oh,
last year
really?
they were obsessed with Grimace, and they like
I love Grimace.
they changed it again this year where like they would change like the backgrounds like Chrome to like Grimace, the desktops on the computer. So then that happens, and then like do you see the Moneyball meme with Grimace?
yes,
That
I
was
love him.
here. I'll get it right now, just for people that, because of course they put it in the group chat that have not seen it. Billy, this is Grimace. He's a relief pitcher. He's one of the most undervalued players in baseball. His defect is that he has milkshakes that bring all the boys to the yard.
Defect.
Defect.
I don't know. His
yeah.
defect is he can't turn his neck. Or he doesn't have a neck.
His defect is his BMI is higher than the Blue Jays,
Yeah, exactly.
who just
But-
lost Danny Burgers.
I know. Rest in peace.
Not.
I'll find a
Anyways.
job. Anyways.
At
Grimace.
McDonald's.
I mean, I think it was Wednesday night. Grimace threw out the first pitch at the Mets game, and
What can you
they've
say?
been 5-0 since.
He has a negative 300 ERA plus. He's striking out 22.5 per nine.
Yep.
Just what more can you say about him?
I know he's done miracles on me.
Seriously.
But before we get into the games, of course, your injury report brought to you by the Triboro MD. Just lots of good news, or two good news really. Francisco Alvarez was activated earlier last week on Tuesday. Tomas Nido, unfortunately, got DFA'd, so the Mets ended up keeping Luis Torrens over Tomas Nido. We talked about it last week, and we both were thinking that Nido was going to stay.
I wasn't
But,
thinking.
yeah.
I was pretty confident in it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were pretty.
I was
confident
pretty
Nido was gonna
confident,
stay.
yeah.
But I mean, it's not like Nido was playing bad, which is the unfortunate part. This Luis Torrens was just playing better. For a backup catcher, Nido was doing perfectly fine. Good defense, like okay offense. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't even
think it
say
really
good
surprised me.
defense. He was 77th percentile in the fielding. He was 78th percentile in blocks above average, 74th in pop time, 88th in caught stealing. I think the only thing is he was 60th in framing, which
So-
obviously is like a huge thing.
Yeah,
Now, I just want to see Torrens. Yeah, it's not even like Torrens is a good framer. He's 50th percentile in framing. Granted, all the offense is incredible, but that was shocking to me. I feel like as a backup catcher, you want the defense guy.
yeah. I mean, I don't think the defense is too far of a drop off, personally, between him and Nido. But yeah, I think it's that offensive upside that really kind of made the final decision. Because with Nido, you kind of know what you're going to get at this point in his career.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I think Nido was, after DeGrom left, I think he was the longest tenured Met.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know who it is now. I'm probably going to guess Nimmo. But
Let me.
yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but Luis Torrens, hell of a job. He had another home run this week. Decent game on Sunday. And he's doing really good. So I'm happy for Torrens, but Nito will find a job.
Mm-hmm. It's
He'll
annoying me
find it.
because I'm trying to find it and I can't find it.
I think it's Nimmo.
Yeah, I can't find it, and this is annoying me.
Yeah, because
You just keep talking and I'll figure it out.
sure, okay.
Is he what's it called? Did he get signed to minor league or did someone claim him?
Who?
Nito.
Nothing yet. I think he's still
Nothing
in
yet?
like that DFA process.
Okay.
So he hasn't been fully released yet. But I'm sure it'll happen this week, and I'm sure the Phillies will pick him up after JT Realmuto went down. But regardless, while Justin looks for that, Edwin Diaz is also back. He already looks better. He pitched 2 innings this week, a non-save situation Thursday night, and a save situation Friday night. Back-to-back days, which was pretty big, honestly.
Brandon Nimmo
Because
is now longest
he's-
tenured.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
since
what I figured.
2016.
Checks out. But Diaz already looks better. He pitched much better on back-to-back days, which was killing him beforehand. His fastball velo is up 1.5 miles. His slider velo is up 2.1 miles per hour. So you kind of get, and his slider's a lot more crisp, like a lot tighter of a break. And again, his fastball touched 99. I think he touched 100 once or twice. And he had a big save on Friday in the first game of the Padres series. So, look, Diaz does not need to be 2022 Diaz. He needs to be a competent closer that can just close out games without much issue. He doesn't
That's
need
what
to
you
be
want to. That's what you want a closer to
historic.
do. You want a closer
Right.
to close out games.
Yes, usually, ideally, that's
It's a
the plan.
crazy concept. Crazy concept, but that's what you want.
Insane, usually, yes.
Sometimes.
But sometimes, here and there.
At
but
Mets
really
bullpen
quick-
before Diaz.
Now, literally, fucking Mets May bullpen. But really quick to go over the Marlins series, they won the series 2-1. Like I said, Diaz returned. We saw Nimmo bat in the 2-hole. We talked about it last week, and it happened pretty quickly after we talked about it. So I guess they heard me. But no, I wasn't the only one to say that. Everyone was clamoring for it. So they moved Nimmo out of the 2-hole. Out of the 3-hole to 2. JD Martinez third, Pete Alonso fourth. That's kind of what they've just been rolling with.
Now, do you think the Mets are gonna put Anthony Rizzo at 4 when they trade Alonso to the Yankees?
No. Because Anthony Rizzo is not going anywhere.
Anthony Rizzo, you are a Shanghai Tiger.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 1-for-1 swap. Here's Alonso, here's Rizzo. Let's see what happens.
Not happening.
No.
Go on.
But JD Martinez had a fantastic homestand, which we'll get into a little more later. And
You're not
he
biased
had
at all.
Nope. He had a
Not at all.
walk-off home run on Thursday night's game, which I was so lucky to be at. That game was very frustrating at first because I think they were being no-hit for about 5 innings, 5-6 innings. Then they had a bases loaded, no outs chance. Starling Marte grounds into a double play, run scores, it's 2-1. Marlins hit another home run, it's 3-1. Bottom of the 9th, I think. Lindor gets on, Nimmo strikes out, and then JD Martinez, at a pitch at or below his knees, like inside, somehow takes it to the opposite field. These past few games, I have really grown an appreciation on how JD Martinez can just take any pitch and somehow drive it opposite field. I think it was on Saturday where he hit 2 home runs against the Padres. It was literally an inside pitch, like on the black, and he took it opposite field. And I don't understand how he does it. But this is what you sign JD Martinez for. This week he completely carried this team. He won the game on Thursday. He won the game almost on Friday with a 2-run double. He once again was a really big part of the win on Saturday where he hit 2 home runs. Sunday was the really only game where I think he had only had 1 RBI, but again, he contributed.
I want you
These
to
are the games.
I want you to guess his WRC plus on when he hits a ball oppo.
Like 400.
296.
Okay. But yeah, it's just I don't know how he does it. It's insane.
I'm trying to find how much he pulls the ball, but oh wait, I think I just found it. Yeah, so this year, okay, I wish they had just had. Okay, so I could just do first half. So he pulls the ball 32% of the time, goes center 33% of the time, oppo 33% of the time. Which to be even on all that is crazy.
Yeah.
Like most of the time it's like maybe like a 45 to like call it 30 about that.
Yeah.
So to be even is crazy.
Yeah. He's just a lot of people say it. He's such a professional hitter.
He is.
Like he just hits. He loves hitting. He breathes hitting. You know, once his career is done, I wouldn't be shocked if teams clamor for him as a hitting coach. But he's been great, and this week just shows you why. You know, so that was the Marlins series. But quickly go over the Padres series where they swept the Padres. And I know it's early, but given how this Mets team is made up and what
I was gonna say needed life.
Sweep.
Yeah.
Right. And this provided that. And not only that, but, you know, come playoff implications, the Padres are going to be in that wild card hunt too. So if there's a tiebreaker, as of right now, you hold that tiebreaker. I think they have another series with them in July or August in San Diego. But as of right now, you're in a good spot.
And it's also a thing of the NL is very weak when it comes to wild card standings. Like, if I have it right now, the Mets are how many games? Where are you?
I think they're a game
they're
and a half.
1.5 games back.
Spot. Yeah.
Like, that's because you also have to realize the Braves may have started to pick it back up a little. I don't know, but I know they have just not played well as of late. Yeah. The Cardinals are the second wild card spot at 35-35. The Padres are 37-38 in the third wild card spot. You have teams like Washington that are fourth for it. That I don't think that's sustainable, especially the Mets start playing better. You have teams like I will say you do have some like wild card teams above you, like the Giants, the Cubs, even like a team like Cincinnati, where they could catch lightning in a bottle. But yeah, because
as of right now, it's wide open.
You only have 2 teams that are out of the race in the NL. Yeah. In the Rockies, where they're 10 games back, and the Marlins are 12 games back. The Mets have the third furthest away at 1.5 games back.
Right.
The NL is very wide open.
Yes, extremely, and you know it's early to start talking about it, but you know it's a testament to how bad the NL has been.
So bad
that the Mets can sneak into that spot.
Because like other than y'all say the Phillies and Dodgers, which are very good at baseball.
Yeah.
The Brewers still don't scare me. Like I just don't. I feel like the Brewers are almost a case of like the Guardians, where it's just like such a weak division. That's just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, the AL Central is like the only team with like 4 teams above 500 or something.
Yeah.
That's still true.
I
Like,
will look at that
like
right
a
now.
few weeks
So the
ago.
Guardians are, the Tigers are not,
Oh,
the Twins are, the Royals are. So 3.
so 3 teams above 500.
Yeah. Because the Royals, they're 41 and 32. The Yankees won 3 out of 4 in Kansas City, and those 2 of those games were just not even remotely close.
Right.
And the third, they would have swept if it wasn't for a misplay at first.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
say what you want.
Take it for what you will.
I think the 2 best teams in baseball are in the AL East, but
That's fair. That's fair.
maybe 2 out of 3. But I think definitely top teams. Go on.
Yeah. So it's wide open for the Mets. They control their destiny. You know, like if they play well, they will end up in a spot. I think because of just how poorly these other teams have played. You know, the Giants have been ravaged by injuries. You know, Blake Snell, when healthy, has not been great.
Mhm.
Cincinnati is a very young team who doesn't have a lot of experience, and they're going to have their ups and downs. The Cubs are struggling, which I find surprising. I thought they were going to be better.
Mm.
Who else?
And
yeah,
just
Washington, like you said, I don't think is completely sustainable.
and to add to your point about the Mets controlling their own destiny, you guys play a series against the Rangers. After that, you play the Cubs. Couple series later, you play the Nationals. Couple series after that, or the series after the Nationals, you have 4 games set against the Pirates. After that, you play the Nationals again. Then you get a very nice stretch of Rockies, 3 games against the Rockies, 4 games against the Marlins. But yeah, you play a lot of games against the Cardinals. Couple games after that, couple series after that. So you play a lot of those teams.
Right.
That you're almost
Right.
head to head in the wild card hunt. And I only just got to August, so I'm sure you go further than that and you're gonna get more. Like Diamondbacks. You have a lot of teams that you're playing or in the hunt
For
for
sure.
the wild card.
Yeah. Yeah. So they just got to keep playing good baseball. That's really all it is. And going back to the Padres series, you know, with Edwin Diaz got the save Friday, huge step forward. His first save since I think beginning of May. I thought it was really impressive how he kind of composed himself. He kind of slowed down. He gave up a leadoff hit, and that runner never came around to score. So I think it was really impressive to see him kind of just slow things down. And to your point, I can't believe I'm giving you credit. I think Francisco Alvarez has a lot to do with that. Just the energy, just the vibes he brings. Because you can see, like, I think Manaea started this game. Just start a little off topic or off track. Manaea started this game, and there was one point in the game where Manaea missed a spot, and Alvarez stood up, and he starts going like up, like throw it up. Next pitch, fastball up, guy swings and strikes out. Like, Francisco Alvarez is such a young catcher, but he's so smart. He has such a high baseball IQ that guys love pitching to him. You know, and you see that with Diaz. You saw with Diaz on Friday. He credited him. Jose Quintana on Saturday had a hell of a start. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. Credited Alvarez at the end of the game. You know, you mentioned it last week. You've been mentioning it. Alvarez is a huge part of this team, and it's not just from a defensive or offensive perspective.
Yeah, buddy.
Let it soak.
Let's
You're
talk a
welcome.
little. And I have a theory on Diaz. So you said
Okay.
he kind of settled in, right? And kind of like took a
Yeah.
step back. He wouldn't have
Yeah.
been able to do that with the pitch clock without a runner on. What if he intentionally gave up the hit to give himself more time so he could have more time between the pitches?
I'm going to bet no,
That would be like 7D chess.
but I'm sure there's pitchers out there who've done it.
Yeah.
Or kind of like pitched around a guy.
Or if they have like a 4 or 5 run lead or something like that, and they just want to
Right.
like,
Take a breather.
yeah.
That would be smart, but
That's
who
like
knows?
something Grinke would do in a tie game.
That's so true.
He would intentionally walk a guy.
Yeah,
do
just like
that.
go.
Yeah.
But But yeah, so Francisco Alvarez has been great just from a energy perspective. His bat hasn't gone around yet, but he just got back, so obviously not putting too much stock into that. Like I mentioned earlier, JD Martinez, he was fantastic this week. Big part of why the Mets went 5-1. And the last person I want to talk about in the Padres series is Jake Diekman, the now only lefty in that Mets bullpen, as they sent down Danny Young for Edwin Diaz. He's been a little rough around the edges, especially in higher leverage situations, it feels like. I'm not sure if the stats back that up. Maybe he just needs to get into some lower leverage situations. I mean, he's always been a wild guy. He is, what's the word? I can't think of it.
Doesn't have
Or
best
he's
control.
like consistently inconsistent, I guess. He's so wild that guys still chase, but even Diekman doesn't know where it's going. Therefore, the hitters don't know where it's going. But on Sunday's
Yes,
game,
the Deadpool strategy.
yes, exactly. Sunday's game, he came in relief, first pitch or first batter, whatever it was, gets a ground ball, easy double play, and he throws into center field. He's so that was kind of like the final straw for me. And I feel like he's just been really tough to watch, especially in those higher leverage situations. And it wasn't even that high of leverage situation. He made it a high leverage situation. It's a lot of his own doing. But being the only lefty in the bullpen, he needs to get it right a little bit, because without Brooks Raley, Danny Young has been solid, but as right now, Jake Diekman's the only lefty in the pen, so he needs to get right so the team can get lefties out when they need him.
Yeah.
But besides that, Grimace.
MVP.
Grimace. It's so funny how this year has been so weird for the Mets that the fan base has just gravitated to anything and everything.
Towards Grimace.
Like, first it was the Riley Pimp. Then it was the team photo. Or not even it was like the team meeting. And then it was the team photo on the bus. And then it was the Pride Mets when they changed their profile picture for Pride Month. And now it's Grimace. So the fan base just sees something. They start playing well when that thing happens. Like, this is it. This is what we've been missing this entire time. I just find it hilarious. But
The tweet that someone responded to us about the June is the month of the Mets, I was curious why you thought that was the big deal, but I didn't see the last line.
Yeah. Thanks for the interaction, guy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
But
we even got Ben Yole, known Yankee lover, interacting with us.
I know. Love that. Shout out, Ben. But yeah, just on a more serious note, they have been playing better since that team meeting. It was players-only team meeting after that Dodgers loss and the Jorge Lopez catastrophe. They have been playing better. They have a new life almost. There's new energy. You can see it. And hey, credit to them. They sat down. They kind of looked each other in the eyes and they're like, "Hey, we suck. We got to turn it around." And look, now you're only 4 games under 500. You started the week 10 or 9 games under 500. So pretty big. A lot of credit to the players there. And then I talked about it enough, but JD Martinez carried the team this week. This week alone, he slashed 450, a 593 on base, with a 1.05 slugging, which is just another month for Aaron Judge. But he hit 3 home runs with 3 RBI on this homestand. And I just cannot say enough good things about JD. It seems like he's really doing well in that 3-hole. Nimmo had kind of turned his week around. He had a good game Sunday and Saturday. He had a good Padres series overall, I will say. In that 2-hole, he hit 350 with a 409 on base and a 400 slugging. 3 RBI and 5 runs scored on the week. But the most interesting thing about Nimmo this week, I don't know if you saw this, but it came out that they've been consistently testing him for concussion symptoms. So I want to say it's like 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago when they played the Giants. Nimmo kind of got hit on the helmet, not necessarily the head. And he was visibly shaken up. It took him a bit. And, Carlos Mendoza was there last year when everything of Rizzo happened, right? So it sounds like they just want to get ahead of it. Nimmo himself was very adamant that he hasn't been experiencing symptoms. He feels fine. It's not an excuse, whatever. But Carlos Mendoza has been pretty adamant that, they just want to keep testing him because they dealt with something very similar for Rizzo last year.
What team is Luis Guillorme on again?
He's on the Angels right now.
Angels? Okay. No,
Why?
because that made me think of, and this is Yankees, a soft topic. Remember when Volpe slid into Guillorme?
Yeah.
I'm curious what his numbers are after that. Obviously, I'll look into that after the podcast, but I'm because the whole thing, he looked very dazed.
Taken up, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, that just made me think about it. Go on.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, so just interesting. Hopefully Nimmo doesn't have a concussion and this doesn't turn into another Rizzo debacle. But he had a better week overall, so hopefully that's just signs of him turning it around.
Yeah.
And
just for those that don't know, Rizzo was quite literally the worst hitter in baseball for 2 months with a concussion. So This is very, very serious when it comes to, 1, his own health, and 2, just how he plays on the field.
Right, and we mentioned it last week how he was striking out 30-40% of the time, which that's just not Nimmo.
That's something that could be because of a concussion, because you just don't, your reaction time's slower.
Right.
A big thing with concussions is you have a lot of light is horrible, so it's either bright as hell out or you got bright lights shining in your face.
Right. So, and the last guy I want to talk about is the Mets' own Rizzo, Jeff McNeil. Had another tough week, only 2 hits on the homestand. I got nothing anymore. I really don't know what you do with him. Popping up too much, flying out too much. Maybe he's playing golf too much. I don't know. He's not helping the team. Luckily, everyone else seems to be turning a corner. But McNeil, I guess, missed the train on that. I think it's time for Jose Iglesias to get some more playing time, whether it's a righty or a lefty. Iglesias didn't start a single game this week. McNeil had full runway this entire week, and he only had 2 hits, which was a bloop double and then a bloop single.
Do you want to know my suggestion?
What is your suggestion?
I want you to guess.
DFA.
No, Jesus Christ. I was going to say Phantom IL.
Phantom IL? Maybe.
You did it with Diaz. How did it work with Diaz? I know it's not the same player, but if you give him a week and a half to just literally be like, okay, just focus as much as you can in the cages on hitting the ball straight. Try not to pop it up. And I think that would do wonders for a guy like that. Give him a week and a half to go on a vacation, relax, see some family, focus on the swing. I think that would do with how mental a sport baseball is, that I think that would do wonders. Because he's worried, like, oh, Jose Iglesias, he's right around the corner. He could take my job. That I have to perform. He's overextending. So
Right.
I'm just such a big believer in the Phantom IL when it comes to guys that are like just struggling so badly that aren't your best hitters.
Right.
Where in the sense of like Alonso, I would never say a Phantom IL for. Lindor,
Yeah.
I would never say Nimmo. I'd never say a Phantom IL for those guys. But a guy like McNeil, I think, would not be a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that they can definitely. I wouldn't be shocked because they kind of have an out because he had some problems. I think it was his elbow in spring training, so they can easily just be like, oh, his elbow flared up.
Yeah.
Take some time off. So
His elbow hurts. Back spasms.
right. So that can definitely be a play, but yeah, I think it's getting late for McNeil. I think he does still bring some value in his defense and versatility. So worst case scenario, I know his defense has taken a step back this year, but absolute worst case scenario, he can just be a very expensive bench/utility player.
His numbers aren't even that good defensively.
This year, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that he was still like solid. Because put in
No,
perspective,
I think, yeah.
I was just gonna say 14th percentile in fielding run value, 14th in outs above average.
Yeah, which is very odd because he's been a very good defender every other year.
His whole baseball savant is just odd. Where it's all bright, or it's all dark blue, dark blue, dark blue, and then 98th percentile in whiff, 97th percentile in strikeout.
Yeah, he doesn't strike out. Like, he'll put the ball in play. It's not going to be hard contact.
Yeah.
Might not even be solid contact. But he'll put the ball in play. You know, so that's why I said he doesn't strike out, so he could be a good bench piece or, a utility guy. So, and I think that's kind of where it's trending because I honestly don't think you can really give away this contract. Obviously, you can eat the money or a lot of it to maybe get something in return. But is that something in return going to bring more value than McNeil? I don't know.
Plus the money that you're eating.
Right. So he might just be a very expensive bench player, but we'll see what happens with that. Brett Beatty made his first career start at second base earlier this week, so that's already running and moving. Luis Angel Acuna has gotten a little hot. So there's options. We talked about last week, McNeil's replaceable. So
did
that's really
my
the last
mic
thing
pick that up on Discord?
What? I don't think so.
I ripped ass so badly. I think it got brought up. I think the podcast mic picked it up, so I just wanted to point out, yes, it was a stinker.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sorry for anyone who hears that.
Oh my god.
But that's the last thing I really wanted to touch on. You kind of mentioned it earlier. This week they get 3 games in Texas in their new stadium, which the Mets haven't been to, and then 3 games in Chicago against the Cubs. Texas has been struggling a little bit. Definitely not where they want to be. Chicago, kind of very similar, not where they want to be. So, like I mentioned, the Mets control their destiny. Just keep playing good baseball, keep winning series, and we'll see what happens. Cause trade deadline's a little more than a month away, and there's a lot of baseball left, so we will see.
Yeah.
But if you have anything to add, Squidward?
No, I don't.
Okay. While Justin suffocates in his own
it's a little better.
release. Flatulence. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating there. We really appreciate it. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Twitter, or X, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. Give us a follow there. But yeah, thank you guys again, and we will see you next week.
See ya!